our country itself is sick, that it's lost its sense of direction, even its common decency.
You don't so much as wiggle a finger.
There's a lot of people saying a lot of things, but in the end, you gotta listen to yourself.
In that moment, Elvis the man was sacrificed, and Elvis the God was born.
I'm gonna show you what the real Elvis is like tonight! If you're looking for trouble, you came to the right place. If you're looking for trouble, just look right in my face.
He had no idea what he had done.
You ain't nothing but a dog player. I get it.
I wish to promote you, Mr. Presley. Tomorrow, all America will be talking about my war.
You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Who the hell is that?
Crying all the time.
Elvis Presley.
You ain't nothing but a...
If you don't do the business will do you.
I'm gonna do what I want to do. Sing the music that I want.
Dog player. I get it.
Well, since my baby left me.
No. They're gonna put me in jail.
The way you sing is God-given. So there can't be nothing wrong with it.
Well, it's one for money.
If you don't listen to me,
Two for the show.
all that your mama has sacrificed for you will be for nothing. Trust me.
Ready now, go, cat, go.
There's been a lot of talk about the new Elvis. Those people ain't gonna change me none.
I think if you dream it, you'll do it.
Never met anyone like you.
I hope not.
We can't go on together with suspicious minds.
Without me, there would be no Elvis Presley.
Suspicious minds.
Reverend once told me, when things are too dangerous to say, sing.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Elvis Presley.
Because I love you too much, baby.
This ain't no nostalgia show. We're gonna do something different.
Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my God, guys. This is my Elvis movie review. Oh my gosh. Now, let me just say the movie, I watched it twice already. I dragged my daughter to watch it twice. It was a phenomenal. Mostly because of Austin Butler. And in case you didn't know who Austin Butler was before this movie, he is or was a child actor for Disney and, the Disney set, okay? With his good looks and infectious, likable personality, he was on Hannah Montana, iCarly, a couple of those kind of shows, those kind of teenage shows when he was a lot younger. And he actually got into movies after. He was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He actually worked on stage, guys, with the likes of Denzel Washington. He even recounted the story of him and Denzel competing to see who would be earliest, earlier than each other on that, when they were working on that on Broadway together, guys. It is phenomenal. And also, Baz Luhrmann, he said that he didn't know Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington even went to the trouble of calling him and recommended Austin Butler because of his work ethic, because he was so impressed with this young guy and his work ethic. And that's impressive. that Denzel Washington, because guys, Denzel Washington is not someone who is easy to please. Hello. It is unbelievable. Well, Denzel fell in love with Austin's work ethic, and that's pretty you know what? That's pretty interesting in my opinion. So, my thoughts on Elvis Presley, to be honest, guys, I didn't, I grew up my whole life, I heard about Elvis Presley. I've heard his story a million jillion different times. My grandmother and my aunt, when I was growing up in Barbados, they all, they loved Elvis. Oh my God. I mean, they, I saw parts of movies, this and that. I heard the music all my life growing up. Yeah, I did. But I always I never really connected to the Elvis story, although I knew the Elvis story all my life growing up. And, as I said, I grew up in a beautiful Caribbean island, Barbados. Believe it or not, people in Barbados, we love country music. We love old music. We love, big band music. We love all kinds of music. We don't just love soca and calypso and reggae. We actually listen to all types of music in the islands, okay? In Barbados in particular. On Sundays, it's big band day. That's what you hear. All the oldie goldies. The oldie goldies songs, they play on the radio. People play them on their own. That's a thing growing up in Barbados. We are very culturalized. We know everything when it comes to music. We listen to everything, okay? Classical, everything. But yeah, so I grew up listening to Elvis's music and all that. But I never really got into his story. I did know the story, but I never was really interested. I just saw him as an old guy, really good looking at when he was young. And I saw him as an old guy, which is the weirdest thing ever because, guys, Elvis Presley was like 42 years old when he died. And that is in no means old at all. Looking at it from today's perspective, 42 is really young to die, actually. And then another thing, as I was growing up, what you heard and you always heard people talking about fat Elvis and this Elvis and that Elvis. And when you really look at Elvis's pictures and videos and stuff, yeah, I mean, in the end, yes, he was bloated. His face was bloated. And most of it, in my opinion, was really from all those pills and stuff and all those injections that he used to be, they used to inject him with stuff, guys. We even saw it in the movie. So there you go. It's like, I think that came from that. I don't think it came from anything else because he was not fat ever. He was just he had gained more weight. Of course, he had gained weight from the time he was young because he was very young and fit when he, at first, and then he put on a few pounds, but he was not fat. Like, come on. And I don't believe from what I've seen of his last performance and stuff, that was still not fat. I mean, he didn't have much of a belly and all that. So I don't know where people got these ideas from when it came to the real Elvis. From what I've seen in all the video clips and stuff that I've seen of him, he definitely was not what people have been saying about him and all that. So, and so that's basically what I gotta say about that. His life, we know, he lived it fast. He lived it fast. He did everything that he wanted to do. The guy had a plane, 2 planes or something, all kind of stuff. It's like he lived his life the way he wanted to. The fact, okay, yes, when he grew up, he was very poor. And in the movie, they start out the movie with him as a child growing up in Tulupo, and he grew up with a lot of, in the midst of a lot of black kids and stuff. He grew up till when he was 11 or 12 or I think 13. Until 13 he was living in Tulupo, and then he moved to Memphis when he was 13. He grew up going to Bill Street, all these things. So it's his life was very colored. His life was very colored. And the thing is, people keep saying he kind of inflected off of the black songs, the black, he actually really seemed to respect and admire black music. He loved gospel. He loved, and of course, we saw in the movie that him as a child, when he was, how influenced he was by black culture, black songs, and it all came over. Because even when, if you don't know him and you listen to his music, a lot of people thought he was black at first, because they didn't know because the way he was singing sounded, because he had the inflection of what he grew up listening to, the gospel and the blues and all that. He incorporated all that into his music and kind of made it his own thing, but it was all influenced with black culture and black music, basically. All the music he grew up with in the South while he was growing up. So it was so interesting. And, the movie blazes through his life, guys. It kind of blazes through. It lets you see the beginning, which was the innocent boy growing up in a black neighborhood and then he went on to live in Memphis. Family was very poor, and he always had stars in his eyes. He wanted to do something. And let me tell you, this guy, Austin Butler, when I tell you this guy, when I was watching this movie, I am thinking, this is Elvis that I'm watching. And the funny thing about it is, I told my daughter this twice. I was like, I like Elvis, but I like Austin even more than I like Elvis. I kind of more was in tune with Austin. I was more caught up with Austin than I was with Elvis. And I know it's just hard to explain. It's like he became Elvis, and this will forever be the portrayal of Elvis that people will look back on when they talk about Elvis. Let's put it that way. This is the portrayal that has been missing for the last 45 years that Elvis Presley has been gone. It's been 45 years. This is the portrayal that we will look back on when we're talking about Elvis. Okay? There's no other portrayal out there that can compete with this Elvis from Austin Butler. Austin Butler's inflection of Elvis Presley. There is no other performance right now ever that happened before, because I think Kurt Russell did it before as a TV movie, and they got more into it, more detailed. But this Baz Luhrmann film, Baz did an amazing job. The way how he does movies, his movies are like a flash. It's like they're so bright and so spectacular, and he's like a showman. He's definitely a showman, and the whole movie was that kind of thing. It was just showpiece after showpiece after showpiece, and it's very big and spectacular and loud. That's what I kind of take from the movie. But the funny thing about it is, even though the movie is really big and spectacular and all this, one person in this movie that you cannot keep your eyes off of is Austin Butler. This guy pulls you in, pulls your focus. And thank God that he has that kind of presence that kind of takes you back. When you're watching this movie, his presence and his charisma and his everything that he has, he encapsulates everything. It brings you back to who this movie is really about and what the movie is about. And that is the genius that Austin Butler did on this movie. And in my opinion, I believe that this guy deserves an Oscar for this performance for sure. And I'm going to give it a 10 out of a 10. I know some people were like, they're be generous. They're like, 9.5, 9. They don't want to give the whole thing. I give him 10 out of 10. Austin Butler for this movie, and Baz Luhrmann for finding Austin Butler in this movie, because I heard that there have been, other people who have tried out for the movie, the likes of Harry Styles, which, and I love Harry Styles. I'm a big One Direction fan, or I used to be. I love Harry Styles. So, and the fact that he didn't go with the obvious choice of Harry Styles, and he went with somebody else. He went with Austin Butler, a guy who nobody really knew. Nobody really knew who this guy was. And this is a career-defining moment, and this is a star being born right now. This guy will go on to huge success. He will go on to huge success in the future, because, I mean, this is the performance of his lifetime. This is like Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic. Try as he may, Leonardo DiCaprio could not get the whatever he had in Titanic. All the movies he did for after that, he couldn't really get it back. He did great. He won the Oscars, blah, blah, blah. But he should have won the Oscar for Titanic. Now I hope at the beginning of this guy's career, Austin Butler, I hope they give him, what he deserves, which is an Oscar, okay, for Best Actor. And the movie was amazing. The part of the movie that really got the way that they ended the movie, let's put it that way. And I kind of was like, oh my God, when I saw the way it was going with when I saw the airplane and all that, and that he got out of the when he got into the airplane and all that, and he mouthed to Priscilla Presley, I will always love you. He mouthed that to her in the end, and I knew, okay, that's the end. That's it. That we're not going to see him again for the movie. I thought the way how they did that, the ending was amazing. They didn't go into the gore and all the horrible stuff about his death and all that. They just transcended it into him flying off into the skies in his plane, in his airplane. That's how they kind of transcended the end of the movie, which I thought was amazing. And I really appreciated the way they did that, because we didn't have to see a funeral and all that. We already know the tragedy of the story. But I love the way that they made it beautiful. That Baz Luhrmann made this beautiful. So the movie was amazing. I must give props to the girl who played Priscilla Presley. She did amazing as well. She really did. She was not in the movie for a lot, but she did a good job. And Tom Hanks did an amazing job as well, in my opinion. But there's nobody that did an amazing job like Austin Butler. He deserves an Oscar for this, guys. And Baz Luhrmann, he's amazing. I've watched so many of the interviews and stuff that they did. He is something. He is a great guy. So I love this movie. I give it a 10 out of 10. Austin Butler deserves an Oscar. And that is my review of Elvis the movie. And guys, this is my first movie review, but I will be doing more as, if it hits me. If there's a movie that deserves it, I will do it. And I am going to be starting a series on Hollywood icons, and you can bet that Elvis Presley will be in there. Just letting you know to watch out for that. Okay, thank you so much. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Have an amazing one. I will talk to you in the next one. Bye.